We're doing a lot of upgrades to this 1997 camper. How about an upgrade in the world of electronics? This is a Winegard Air360 Plus antenna. We're going to connect that to the Gateway. What we've got going on here is an antenna that's omnidirectional. Talk about that in a sec. It'll pick up VHF, UHF, FM, omnidirectional. You don't have to get out and point this in a direction to find a signal because it's omnidirectional. The Gateway is going to end up inside the camper on the ceiling, and that's going to allow us to route, as a router would, to devices that we're using when we're in or around the camper. The instructions are great. Let's get moving on the installation of these items. To get the 360 Plus and the router installed, I'm actually in luck here. There's a spot here in the ceiling that previously there was a device. So I've got a power supply. I've also got a coax here that then goes down through the wall to another spot. So all I'm really missing is knowing up on top of the camper where I am in the world. Because what I need to do for the 360 Plus on the roof is come down through the roof so that with a hole, so I can bring its leads into the router here. So what I'm going to do is start by, from this point, I'm going to drill up, and that's going to show me where in the world I am once I'm on the roof. Just clearing some insulation out of the way. Now, one of the things to pay attention to is there are other leads inside here, other wires. So I'm just kind of backing those away from where I just drilled so that when I come down from the roof, I know with my hole saw, I'm not going to hit any of that. Now, up the ladder on the roof. There's where I came through. And you can imagine in this real estate, how would I know where the heck I am if I didn't have that hole already coming through? And I'm being conservative here. I don't want to, boom, suddenly penetrate through, because again, there are wires in there, and although I cleared them out of the way, I just want to make sure I'm not getting the teeth of that hole saw up against a wire. There. So when it comes to the Air360 Plus antenna that's going to go on your roof, pay attention to the owner's manual. The instructions are really, really good, and it's going to give you information about where on the roof it should go, looking for obstructions and that kind of thing. And then once you're this far along, which is we've got the hole that's going to let us access the inside of the camper, we're ready to bring the antenna up. There are just a couple of screws in here. There are 4 screws that let me take the dome off. When you do this, just be careful, because there's a coax that connects the dome component to the flange here. On the flange, it's clearly marked front and rear. Pay attention to that. And then this is easy peasy stuff. All I need to do is get these wires down in there along with the coax. And I'm paying attention again to that front and rear. And really, once we're that far along, that dome is going to be ready to go back on. Up here on the roof, this is going to be a real standard operational procedure for RVs, which is screws, butyl tape, caulk, in order to secure this. But with this in place, what I'll be able to do is get in the camper now and also start working on the router. So I'm going to come back up with all my other stuff and get this securely fastened in place, caulked in place, and then we can jump on that router down below. So when we last left the upstairs, the antenna was in place up there, and I think inside here you probably didn't see the gray coax come down, but that's what's coming from the antenna. And then these leads are also coming from the antenna, and they're going to tie into the router in just a second. So one of the things I've done is the gray from the antenna came into the existing coax that was already in the camper. So all I had to do was thread those together, and we're done with it. Now remember, I said I had power right here in the ceiling. That power comes to this switch. So now that's going to let us turn the router on independently. This is the lead that's going to go into the router itself in order to power it. And then these leads are going to go in, they come off of the antenna. So next step, read the directions, because there is a distinct way that this mounting plate goes in. You want to make sure it's running straight, parallel to the wall of the camper. Easiest way to do that is get one screw in, and then you can pivot that a little bit as needed. Got hookups in here, just read the instructions, that'll show you where everything goes. There we go. The router is installed. Now we have Wi-Fi in the camper. It's got its independent power switch, antenna set on the ceiling. That takes care of our internal router to provide Wi-Fi and that cool Air360 Plus omnidirectional antenna on the roof, which will provide VHF, UHF, and FM, like we talked about earlier. Easy install.